Before I get into the formal introduction of this completed iMovie project, we got to make sure we know how to use green screen. So click on iMovie, Preferences, go to the General tab, and make sure the Show Advanced Tools box is checked. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'll be answering a viewer email about green screen. Basically, the issue is editing with green screen footage. I'm going to scrub through this for now. As you can see, I disappear, reappear, the background's changing size, disappear, reappear, all that fun stuff. How do we fix all this? Now, this, I purposefully edited it this way. This is not how you would want to go about editing green screen footage at all. So if you are having issues with your green screen editing and your backgrounds, watch this tutorial all the way through and you'll be a master at it by the end. So for me, I use green screen footage a lot. I've used things like quick scope guns. Sometimes I might do like an ocean thing with an aircraft carrier at some point. There's a lot you can do with green screen, and just feel free to check out both my channels to see some of the special effects I have done in the past. If they're able to be done in iMovie and the idea didn't pop into my head yet, just again leave a comment below and I'll see if iMovie can pull off some interesting special effects. So, back to the email. Now for the background, let's address the first point. The background slowly shrinking and growing in size. Pay attention to a single point in the background, like the eyeball or something. As you can see, it slowly is leaving the screen, and then it slowly comes back. The eyeball I was talking about is this eyeball. Let me show you that again. Leaves and comes back. That is annoying, especially if you want your background to be stationary. Like if you're trying to be a weather reporter, you want to make sure the country isn't floating away into like a tectonic plate. You want to make sure everything's nice and still. The reason why this is happening is something called the Ken Burns effect. Now, what we're going to do is click on the little gear, cropping, Ken Burns, and rotation. Now, the Ken Burns effect tends to happen default with pictures. Um, if you are using a video as a background, which is perfectly fine, Ken Burns effect I don't think pops up on default settings, but we need to make sure that the Ken Burns effect never happens. There are two ways to do this. You can click crop and everything in the green box will stay, and you can hit fit and your entire picture will be there. Now for this situation, I'm not going to use fit because there are black borders here. So if you are noticing black borders, go with the cropping idea. If you go to the top of iMovie, click File, and then Project Properties, you can see Initial Photo Replacement, Initial Video Replacement. You can set these to never ever Ken Burns. So now let's try that. You have to wait a moment, and as you can see here, no Ken Burns, and on the first one, Ken Burns is still there. So if you did this late in your project, Ken Burns is going to stay. Now we are going to redo a chunk. The way we use green screen is, like I said, drag your background first, and after the background we drag our footage. While holding down the mouse button, we're going to hit green screen, and a background stayed the whole time. Now as you can see, cropping will have the same border every time you input the picture. If I hit play, the border never changed. It'll never crop from one square area to another square area. What I mean by that is your crop boxes will always be a consistent size. You're not going to have one crop box this way, and then in the next footage, you're going to have your crop box over here. It should mostly try and aim for the middle. One other way around it is if you have one really, really, really long background. The way you change your background duration, double click on it, go over here, duration, and make it excessively long. Now I'm going to hit edit undo here because that's a little too long for me. And so that should fix your background issues. Now we're going to need to address the disappearing and the reappearing that I do. That gets pretty annoying. Now this is the way I recommend doing it. First of all, I am going to start a new project. Now that I have a new project, I'm going to take the entire green screen clip and drag it into my project. For me, for this, and what I recommend you do, is when you stand in front of a green screen, do one really long take. Just let the camera roll the whole time. Just keep going, keep going. Give yourself little pauses in between takes. So here I am trying to get into position, stare at camera, make sure the red light's recording. And I'm going to delete the chunk I don't like. Then I'm going to do a take. I ended up accidentally looking at the camera for some weird reason, making sure I'm in frame. Don't like that, delete it. Set up for a new take, delete this chunk. Alright, we're going to delete that chunk. So now we have deleted all the little chunks that we don't like. It still is all one take. Most of my tutorial videos and most of my filming tend to be all one long take as well. So I highly recommend you do that and just delete chunks you don't like when you're in your editing process. So now I have a 33-second or so video. So I'm just going to do File, I'm going to do Share, Export Movie. And I'm going to make it 1080p and all that other fun stuff for my editing. So let me just fast forward through the export.